Welcome everyone to the September meeting of the Southern Oregon Woodard Group. We are very happy today to have Arthur from Reach Reporting joining us. And we just did our fun little intros and some socialization and such, and we're just going to record the demo portion of this meeting. So without that, Arthur, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and take it away.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to meet you all and to have this opportunity to show you our tool, the Reach Reporting tool. So Reach Reporting has been designed with the end user in mind, who is your client. Often business owners, they kind of struggle with two things. Number one, they're crazy busy, which is why they hire you guys to help them with their numbers and their books. And second, they lack the financial acumen to fully understand their numbers. However, all of us know how important it is to understand your numbers and to follow them and to watch them and to set goals. And that doing those things can help you succeed in your business. And so Reach Reporting was designed in such a way that accountants and bookkeepers can help business owners to understand their numbers by taking the data, the hard numbers from your typical P&L, your cash flow statement, your balance sheet, and building graphs and charts out of them. And so that's it in a nutshell. Now I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you kind of how this works in real life here. So this screen that you see right here, this is our workspace that typically it's the first thing that you will see if you are when you first log in. And you can see it, the companies that we advise or we work for would be libraried in here. Notice that there's a few different types of files here. We have companies. This one's a CSV upload, so we have the ability to upload CSV trial balance if your client isn't on QuickBooks or Xero. We can bring in that data that way. And we also have consolidation here. Now the consolidation is a really cool tool that I can dig into in a little bit more detail at the end. But essentially what it is if you have a client that has several companies under an umbrella, we can bring them all together and we can report on them as a unified group. And so that's really powerful, and it can also be very, very efficient and automated. But what I'm going to do to kind of just jump in here is I'm going to jump into one of these simple companies. This is Blast Track, and it's just a fictional company, but within it, it has numbers that I can kind of show you how they react. The first screen that you typically see when you jump into Reach is our dashboard screen. And if you set up your own trial and you set up your own account, there's 3 or 4 dashboards that automatically get plugged in. And as soon as you log in, you can see your client's data, whatever account it is that you connected into Reach. You can see it live, and you have the ability to see those numbers in real life. Now, I can add, we have a few other templates here, dashboard templates, and it's really quick. You can just click on the ones that you want to add and click add, and it will populate in here in your dashboard screen. Now, each of these dashboards are built with different purposes. You can have as many as you want within Reach, but the main concept behind all of them is that it's financial information presented in a way that's easily understandable and digestible by the end user, again, being your clients. And you can see these come in various forms, from tables to line graphs to trend lines. They can even be a summary financial statement, as you can see here, showing your year-over-year variances, your budget variances, and year-to-date results on the other side here. Very, very quick and simple. But the cool thing about anything on our dashboards is that they're all live. So the numbers that are in them will automatically update with QuickBooks or with Xero on a regular basis, giving you live results. And so your client on the other side can use these numbers to help them watch the health of their business. They can put it on a bookmark on their computer, or they can maybe put it on a TV in their office, and they can watch how these numbers change daily, weekly, monthly, and make business decisions based off them. Now, as you can see, there's many, many metrics, and really there's no limit to the number of metrics that you can have in any one dashboard. But what I'll do next is I'm going to show you how easy it is to add more metrics to your dashboard. So if I click on this add metric button, I can click add, and you can see there's 4 different options here. Templates, this is where if you built a metric that you really liked and you wanted to use it across many different entities, maybe many different companies and clients, you could save the metric there and you could call upon it clicking this button. Presets, Reach has dozens of presets available for you. Most of the ones that you've seen in my dashboard just here, those are all presets that you can easily grab in. You can bring in a full statement, a full profit loss, obviously very customized with year-to-date results or monthly or comparisons, of course. And you can also quick build. So with that, just to consider time, I'm going to create one and I'm going to click quick build. And you'll see that one thing that makes Reach very, very unique is the way that we can build our metrics. So if there's something very unique that you want to show, it's very, very easy, quick and simple to show this in a way that is understandable, like I said, by your client. So first off, you need to choose the data points that you want to bring into the metric builder. And these are the pieces that are going to be the different variables in your metric. And you can see anything in your P&L is available. Same thing in your balance sheet, all available, cash flow statement as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a metric and I'm going to pick a couple variables just to kind of show for demonstration. So I'm going to bring in my net profit. For my balance sheet, I'm going to bring in my bank accounts, my receivables. I will collapse this and I'm going to bring in my payables. And you can see that they're starting to file in here. One other source of data I want to bring in is from our data sheets. Now, data sheets, think of them as a marriage between a database and a spreadsheet. Basically, it's a spreadsheet that is housed within Reach, but that can act as a database so that the numbers that are in them can be accessed anywhere else in the software. And so in this demonstration, I'm going to go into my dental sample. I'm going to bring number of employees. And so here's my 5 variables that I want to build a couple metrics to show for you. The next thing is I want to choose my time period. And so for demonstration purposes, I'm going to bring the last 12 months in. However, you can see that I can bring in a custom date range, or I can bring in year-to-date results, and you can see the quarterly, fiscal year dates. There's a whole pile of different iterations that you can bring in at this point. As well, we can bring in a comparison period. I'm going to keep it simple and not bring that in this time, but that's available to you as well. And I'm going to click save. And just like that, this dashboard created this metric builder which is housed on a platform similar to an Excel spreadsheet, has all the data, skipping the data transfer process that you would typically do, has been filtered into this spreadsheet. And now we have the ability to kind of slice it and dice it and build some metrics based off of it. So if I look down here, this is the preview of what I'm going to see. Now, if I was building this in a report, this is what I would see in the report. If I'm building it in a dashboard, again, this is what I would see in the dashboard. And so for my first graph, I'm going to build a graph based off your bank accounts, your receivables, and your payables. So in order to do that, I need to take away or hide 2 of those variables. So I'm going to hide net profit just by clicking on the little blue eye down there, and you can see it's hidden, and you can see it completely disappeared from my table down here. Likewise, I'm going to hide number of employees, and it is also hidden. And now I have those 3 data points that I wanted to graph. And now it's very simple just to click a couple of these buttons down here, and you can see this data represented in a number of different ways. Now, each piece of data, each section of data that you want to present on, it's going to have an ideal way to present. And that's up to you. You're the creative person on this. You can choose whatever way you want. And if you want to get really creative, you can actually mix it as well. So here we have a line graph mixed with a column chart. And we can start to add a little bit of flavor to that as well by adding some shade. And we could even bring in value labels and trend lines. And there's lots of kind of fun stuff we can do beyond that. But it's that quick and that easy to build a metric that is live, that's going to update for you every single day and every single month with live data from QuickBooks or Xero, of course. And it's going to present in a way that is that you and your clients can watch and make decisions based off of. Now, I'm going to build one more here for you before I leave this section. So I'm going to turn off these little blue eyes, and you can see that the preview has changed each time I did that. And this time I'm going to add an additional row. And this row is going to be a custom row. And with the custom rows, we actually have the ability to create our own ratios. And so in this case, I'm going to choose to do profit per employee. And so really quick, you can see, and this is going to be recognizable to many of you, I'm going to take my net profit and I'm going to divide by my number of employees. So you can see this little formula here, very similar to what you might see in Excel. In fact, almost all of the formulas in Excel are available and usable in Reach. I'll click enter. You'll see that formula has populated. I'll bring it across, and you'll see that it is now transferred across the entire date range from September 20th to August 2021. And you can see that my profit per employee in September of 2020 was $607. And in October of 2020, it was $832, and so forth as we go through. Now this graph down here looks okay, but I personally like it better as a line graph. So I'm going to turn a line graph, and as well, I'm going to add a goal line to this. And so I'm going to click new, and I'm going to change this value to 500, saying that we have a goal of $500 of profit per employee each month. And now you can see how quick it is to see at a very quick glimpse, are you hitting that goal, or are you missing it? You're a little bit high, a little bit low. What happened in December? But you can see that generally we're hitting that pretty close. And of course, there's lots of formatting functionality that you can add to this. You can add color and really make this special and make it your own. And it's that quick and that simple to do these kind of things. Again, this is completely live because next month, August 2021 is going to slide over, right? Because Roy's reporting on that previous month. August will slide over, July will slide over, it'll continue to move forward, September will fall off, and then October is going to slide over, and then we'll have a new metric showing the current up-to-date information. That is the metric builder. Now, once you have all of your metrics in the dashboard, now you're going to want to share these with your clients. And we have lots of different clients that will use this as a tool that they offer their clients to add value added. Some will charge more for this type of thing, and some will charge a lot more. It really kind of depends on how you have your business and how you have your firm set up. But when you're going to share this with your clients, there is a couple ways you can do that. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to click on this gear here, and I can do one of two things. I can manage, and normally this would say publish if it wasn't already published. And I'm going to click publish. And in the publish link, I can actually create a link, and I copied it right there. So when I add a new tab and paste that in, you'll be able to see my dashboard in a view only version. You can see that it's continuing to populate here. But notice my menu button is missing, and I'll show you what that looks like in the other side here. There's my menu button, and if I click on it, you can edit it and do lots of things with it. But on the client's version, they don't have that menu button, and so they can't change it. They also, you have the ability to kind of like resize these things. You can rearrange them if you want to kind of bring this one over here and take this one over here. You have the ability to do that, but notice that they don't have the ability to do that. However, what they do have the ability to do is they have some interactive features, and this is dependent on you and if you make it allowable for them, such as this row change. This basically multiplies one aspect of your metric by a number. And so in this case, the revenue is going to be multiplied by 1%, and you can see how 1% in a forecast from September 2021 to August 2022, what that would look like if you were growing 1% month over month. Now, if I change that to 15%, obviously in August, we're going to be a lot happier because we're going to be making a lot more money. And so that interactive piece is available. As well, you can also bring in a month change. So you can see in this summary statement of cash flows, you can see I can change it from last month being August of 2021 compared to August of 2020 and the change. And I can quickly change that to, let's do year to date. And you can see there's our year to date actual versus last year and the change. And so you can put any kind of combination of date ranges in here. You could have full years, basically anything you can, any and all if you want. Different drop downs there, and clients really like this because they like to kind of jump in and play with things and see, build scenarios in their head, like what if I did this, this, and this, what would it do to my business? And now they have the ability to do that. We also have the ability to filter, and so this filter here filters your classes and your tracking categories and locations, for example, and you can filter the data by those filters, and so that's also available for you. And there's one more I'll show you here, one more interactive feature, and that's in this special metric here. You can see really quick, this is top 5 customers in the last 12 months. And your clients can see and change that from top 5 to top 10, for example. And you'll see that it'll automatically filter for that and display in such a way that it will show the client's top customers in a pie chart form. And there's lots of really cool applications to this. So that's the client, that's the published view of the dashboard. Now that is also available in if I were to add this metric, sorry, not that, if I were to click on this gear setting here, I also have the ability to include it in the client portal. And so if just sending off a link in an email is not secure enough for your client, and for some, they will not be super excited about that. They would prefer a password protected version. You can publish it to a client portal, and in the client portal, it will require them to log in with their credentials. They get the same view in the end, but it's just an extra step that's available for them. Finally, if you want, you can share all of these metrics in our reports. And our reports is the next section that I wanted to take you to. Unless there's any questions, I know I'm kind of going through this. Does anybody have any questions so far about the metrics or the dashboards?
So many questions. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Arthur, I'm going to be mildly inappropriate here. This is sexy. Like I'm feeling a little Twitter pated watching you do this.
Oh, that's exciting.
I think Matthew said it best in the chat that like this is the best reporting software that I've seen anywhere on the market. And yeah, this is great. So yeah, I've got, my mind is bursting with questions, but I also don't want to like slow your roll. So if you want to finish, talk about the reporting stuff.
Sure.
Unless Charday, Matthew, do you have anything that you're absolutely bursting with?
I just wanted to really quickly comment. I love the fact that these are fully customizable. Even as a colorblind person, I love the color choices on here. It makes it very easy for me to see what's happening within the business. It's very fluid and it's very inviting, which is so important because we're trying to tell a story to our clients about their finances, and it has to grab their attention. I love the way that you guys have set up to where we can use Excel formulas, and really you're doing that database relationship through Excel lines, which really helps us super nerdy accountants get the information across nicely, which I really love. So thank you.
And I don't have any at the moment.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the feedback. And yeah, that was definitely a big decision we made when we were building this out. That a lot of softwares out there are running away from the Excel spreadsheet, and we thought let's run towards it because our target audience, that's kind of where they live and breathe and sleep, and so let's make it as comfortable as we can for them. So thank you for that feedback.
With accountants, when in doubt, nerd out.
I love it. I'm going to write that one down. Next, I'm going to go into our reports. So the next way to share all of these metrics is in a publishable deliverable report. And so if I click on the reports button here, it's going to bring me into this screen that houses all of my reports. And you'll be able to see that if I click create new, we have tons and tons of different templates, all monthly based, quarterly, annual. We have premium and basic for each one. And so there's tons of places where you can get, like quite literally, you could log in with one of your clients' data and within 5 minutes have something you can email off to them that's going to be very impressive. Now, if you have more time, I can help you customize each and every one of these reports to be super, super fancy and special and branded in a way that's going to be, it's going to really pop for your clients. So I'm going to jump into one of these reports and you'll be able to see how they work and function internally. So this is a report. Again, this is that deliverable piece. And anything we create here, we will be able to save as a PDF, which will download it to our computer that we can shoot off in an email, or we can save it to the client portal that we talked about just a few moments ago when we were talking about the dashboards. Now, within each report, it's built of several different objects. And these are all objects along the side here. We can bring in metrics, and that's the graphs and the charts that we were looking at just in the dashboard there. We can bring full statements, and at the bottom of this report, I have some statements, so I'll show you how those can be edited as well. We have images, and this is a pretty quick example. You can see I can delete this image very quickly and bring it back. I can bring in logos, lots of kind of fun stuff you can do there. And really make it your own for your firm or make it special for your client's company by adding some of their own logos and their own special jazz to it. You also have the ability to bring in text. So this you can see is just static text. It has monthly report. It's could just as easily say yearly or quarterly on that. These contents down here are just things that we've typed in that'll stay the same. However, we also have what's called live text. And live text gives you the ability to bring in elements throughout the report that are going to update for you. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second. The next one is shapes. All of these little things here, that's all they are, is just shapes that you can kind of customize and put them in, arrange them in such a way that they look pretty. Of course, all graphic designers have done a lot of this. You don't have to feel overwhelmed by that, but it's available for you. And then we also have what's called the scratch pad. And the scratch pad is kind of cool. With our scratch pad, we can take pieces of one report that you've created, like a full page of one report, and pull it into another report. And so you can really duplicate your efforts pretty quickly. However, I want to show you what this live text piece looks like. So I'm going to scroll through here and I'm going to add a page. And you can see when it's right from scratch, it starts just as a white page. But what we can do now is we can bring in these live elements. So the data type here, I'm going to show you how I would create this. I'm going to keep it at actual. I'm going to say last month, but maybe I want to change it to this month, current month. And you can see how the date changes to September because we're in September. But I'm going to go back to last month because usually when we're reporting, we're going to do last month. And you can see just like that, I can bring in this date. And you can see it's August of 2021. Now that's kind of cool. I've had talks with other clients in the past who, before they came on to Reach, they built an amazing report. And you hear the horror stories that I made it all perfect, except for I forgot to change the date and it destroyed all credibility when they sat down with their client. Well, now with Reach reporting and with this automation piece here, you can see that highlighted in blue shows that it's live and it's going to update for you every single month. So you never have to worry about changing the date again. Likewise, we have all of these different pieces from your statements, from your accounting software. So we can bring in your total income. And there's a number representing our total income last month. And there's our total cost of goods sold. In fact, I can bring these in the form of a sentence as well. And so you can see in August of 2021, our total income was $42,000. And all of your different variables, and even more than the ones we're showing here, because you can bring in custom ones, all of those are available and able to be live. Because what we don't want you to do is lift at any more of a finger than to come into this report and click PDF each and every month. And that, if we can help you set up everything on your report so that it's automated, your reporting takes 3 minutes a month instead of what it might be taking currently. Beyond that, I'll show you one other type of data here. I can change the data type from actual. I can change it to budget. If you can access budget numbers, actual versus budget and actual comparisons. And I'll show you one for actual comparisons. It's going to give me my last month compared to my previous month. And if I scroll through here, this is what our sentence changes to. You can see August of 2021, the total income was 13,000 higher than July of 2021. And the same thing works for your gross profit, things that go down. You can notice that this arrow is down. If your gross profit was up, it will automatically turn green and go up as well. So all of that's available for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this now, and I'm going to show you what this looks like in real life. So as we scroll through here, and one other thing I'll show you really quick is this theme. I changed it for somebody else. I can change just with the click of a button, and you can see the whole report has changed from kind of a green undertone to red throughout. Everything that was green is now red. So here is some text. This is your static text. It's always going to say cash management. However, this is directly from your accounting software. This is showing 162K of net assets last month. That will change month after month. This was just pulled in from our live text. Likewise, here's a sentence talking about our net assets and how much higher it was in July. As I scroll through here, you can see we have a ratio. Oh, this is cool. See how the company name has been brought in here? So if you want to use this report for a dozen different companies, you don't have to worry about changing the name either. It'll automatically change for you. And so that's kind of a fun feature. This table is live. This chart is live. Every piece of this metric is live and completely editable. If you wanted to bring in another statement here, it's very quick and easy to move things around, delete them, put whatever you want in any of these reports, and it will respond and it will show up in a way that is live and always updating. As I scroll through here, it's more of the same. We have pie charts, we have more sentences, more numbers. All of these things are live and going to update for you. And so quite literally, you can change all of these every single month, because every month you're basically reporting on the same things anyway. And so your reporting takes seconds, because while the content is going to be the same, the data is going to change. And that's what you want to capture. And that's what Reach captures. So I'm just going to continue to scroll through here. And if there's any questions, feel free to just jump in. Otherwise, I'm going to jump into our statement editor. And this is a really important piece of every report is your statements. It's good to see kind of overall picture numbers and graphs and charts at the start, but you always want to kind of dig in and look at the data at the end. And so it's kind of a milk before meat mentality. And so here we have this meaty profit and loss statement. And if I edit this, you'll be able to see how easy it is to kind of change this as well. So throughout our statement here, we can see that it's basically our full P&L is all here. I have the ability down here to see what I'm going to be putting in that report. So you can preview it before you click save. Here's an example of something I can do in here. I can click this collapse button and notice how it creates a summary P&L. And I can also use those same blue eyes that we were looking at earlier. So here's hide, and you can hide the net profit. And maybe you want to hide a few things. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to hide it all and show you how you can have just your expenses shown. Now, this is kind of neat. So you can see our expenses here. Now there's 31 to 83. There's a lot of lines here. But notice how there's only a few lines here. Well, that's because all of the lines that have all just zeros, right now it's set to hide those. And so this is going to be very dynamic. One month there'll be something in that account, and another month there won't be. And Reach will automatically show it or hide it based on those features. Now, of course, you can disable that feature in our additional settings down here, but it is kind of a nice feature if you want to show your information in that way. As well, I'm just going to re-add everything and make sure we have it all there again. Now what I can do here is this one's showing of August of 2021 and is comparing it against July. And maybe you want to look at it at a year difference, right? So instead of August versus July, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little gear up here, and I'm going to change this date range to, actually, I'm going to keep it at custom, and I'm going to change it from August of 2021, and I'm going to go to August of 2020. And you can see really quick that I can change that date range. And now this whole column is showing me data based on August of 2020. And because all of these other ones are formulas, you can see formulas in here, very familiar formulas, I'm sure. They are going to automatically update because the data coming in is different. And so it'll update for you.
Hey, Arthur, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, please do.
So you mentioned that you can have all of your expenses show in a customizable report, and anything that's zero, you said you can have it show if it's zero.
Yep.
Is it possible with that to have that cell that's, for someone, for maybe a client who has a lot of bills and maybe, maybe they missed a bill. Is it possible to have any line that is equal to zero be highlighted or turned, a color change, just to have just a simple report specifically catered to expenses so you can catch any missing bills?
Totally. Yeah. So we have conditional formatting available. And so very simply, you can highlight, and you're probably used to something similar to this. And you can say, okay, if these cells equal, let's say if they equal zero, then let's make the background, let's make it fluorescent green here. And if I click save, we should see some zeros there turn green. And so you could have any number of rules showing those, you could make.
Can you do it by percentage if it's above a certain percentage or below a certain percentage?
Yeah, you betcha. Let's do greater
that's
than
incredible. Okay.
0.06. And so you do have to treat it like a number in there. But if anything's above 6, let's change this. Let's keep the background white, but let's add an icon and let's put a star there and make the star pink. And let's make the font pink as well, because that would be kind of cool. And if I click save, you'll see that my green should disappear and that we should have our item.
And which option was conditional formatting?
This little button here does your conditional formatting.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I have a client who runs based off percentages. So, looking at a black and white profit and loss out of QuickBooks can be really tiresome to the eye and easily missed. So this is insane. I currently have clients who use this already. I just use the reports based off of the CFO. I have no idea how to use the product, so that's why I was so eager to get a demo with you guys so that I can figure out how to make my own. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. The last thing I'll show you is just how you can kind of change the dates here. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you. Yeah, let's get rid of this here. If you do have any filters, if you have any classes or locations or anything set up, notice this up here will filter by class or department. And so I can duplicate this a couple of times. And let's have this class, for example, be just new construction. And you can see how quick it is to really make this unique for yourself. Or maybe you'll want to do this. Let's delete this one and delete this one. And then let's duplicate this one and turn it into a budget. And so I can change this actual to a budget, and we just have to find our budget, which each can go into QuickBooks or Xero and see the budgets there, or you can create it within our platform and you can see that information there. And maybe you'll add another custom column with a formula showing the difference equals, this one minus this one, for example. You'll see that it can drag through.
Do the classes in Reach correspond to the classes in QuickBooks?
Yes. Whatever you have set up in QuickBooks is what we see.
Oh my God, this is so good.
So basically you can create individual pages just strictly for the classes, all of their history, and then have the page below that, combined everything. So it can be really
100%.
Really, yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then back
one big.
Yeah. And then back to kind of what we're, the whole purpose of Reach is to automate it, right? So you build it once, and every month you're just coming in and it's already there. It takes you no time to kind of recreate it. And as you can imagine, doing that in Excel would take a lifetime, right? So very quick and simple to do that.
Ingrid, did you get your question answered? You mentioned where does the budget data pull from?
Yeah, he did mention that it can be to QuickBooks or Xero, or you can create it right here. Can we look at those budget tools within Reach real quick?
Totally. Yeah. So here, let me show you. I'll create a new one. And you can see using Excel or using Reach, Reach would bring it into, I'll show you both real quick. This is what it looks like if you were to, basically we'll set a date range. And I'm gonna create an Excel template with 3 tabs basically with each of these statements. And if I can choose to pre-fill the data, which will just give me data based off the previous range that I choose. And if I want, I can apply a growth rate, but I'll just keep it simple. And then when I download this template, it's going to give me a Excel file that I can open up, and you can see the numbers that are pre-built in there. That's just based off that previous year. So you can change them or fix them or do whatever you want to do with them. But you'll notice that the number here will go right to the very bottom line. Anything, the formulas kind of match all the way through. And so there's your P&L, there's your balance sheet and your cash flow statement. So a lot of people will opt just to build their budgets inside Reach because they like the tool better than doing it in QuickBooks, for example. And then once you have it set up with all of your numbers and all of your scenarios that you're wanting to utilize for that specific client, then you load it into Reach and then it will kind of populate as you'll see another line come in for that budget. And you can have as many as you want, of course. And then if you need to change it or update it, you just click update and it'll update that specific budget for you. So that's kind of fun. As well, you can do it within Reach. And it's very similar, but this one piece here, instead of giving us the whole balance sheet and the whole cash flow statement, it just says choose what you want to bring in. And so you might choose to bring in your bank accounts, your receivables, just a couple things. If I click save, we can do the pre-filled data. I'm just going to keep that off so you can see the difference and give it a quick name. And you'll see that it brings up a Reach spreadsheet and very similar to kind of what we were looking at earlier. Some functionality in here that wouldn't be in Excel, but you can see at the very bottom, there's those 4 accounts that we brought in. And very similarly, you can kind of bring your, let's see here, let's expand this out. And let's give this a big number, and you'll be able to see that this goes all the way to the bottom as well. And you can treat it very much like a spreadsheet like we were doing before. So
can you bring class tracking into this?
So how we would do that is you would have, I'm going to leave without saving real quick. So when you're creating a new one, what you would do here is you would pre-fill the data and then you could filter by that class. And so you'd be able to get the pre-filled data based off what you did in previous years based on that class. And then you would save it with a title that would be like, okay, this is going to be for class A, for example. And then when you bring it into Reach, into the statements or into the metrics or whatnot, then you would see immediately when you're choosing that budget that it would be by that class. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And so, yeah, that's typically how that kind of piece works. And let me just really quick here. I already kind of showed you how the budget works, but you could also, like in your graphs and things, you could build a budget. You could build a graph that shows your budget versus your actual. Quite simply here, if we click and I've seen this before, where you have like the first. We do it on income, for example, and I'm going to build a custom, and I'm going to change this from April, and I'm going to go all the way to December, just for income. You'll note that these months here, we have data because it's the previous, months that have passed, but these ones here, we don't have data in. And even September, the data is probably not finished, right? Like we're still in business. So what you can do is you can change these columns to the budget columns. And so if let's put in this one here, you can see now that changed that whole column to a budget column. And likewise, this one will be a budget column as well. And you could do it so forth and so forth. But the fun thing about this is that this column, it's always going to show you the current month. So the current month today is going to be September. The current month next month will show October, but it'll show up in this place. And so it's going to be that live graph showing you how data is evolving from actual to budget and forecasted as we go through the year. And so it's always constantly updating for you with that correct data. Does that make sense? I know that was a little bit confusing.
It does. So one of the things that I'm loving about this is that you can change the different, the reporting periods, and it's really easy to see things by month. I've used other like cash flow forecasters and things like Profit Beacon, and Profit Beacon only shows it week by week, and it's just too much data. Like you can't even work with it. And it's just, this is so much easier to play with. And can you see it by quarter?
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, Arthur, one more thing. Can you, so you said the date ranges can be customizable. Can you exclude certain months? For instance, like when COVID first hit last year, those numbers really skew reports. Is it possible to, not have those months?
Yeah, totally.
Get some averages?
Just pretend that 2020 didn't happen.
Well, mainly the first 2 months, like, it really, or like, so here's a good example. Say that a long-term company was going through a big remodel and they had to shut down. So therefore, their payroll was probably really high because, or whatever it may have had to happen, but revenue was really low, but they still had regular expenses because the building was up and running, like power and electricity. So again, those typical months for the next year, when you're looking off percentages, really skew it, and it gets a little confusing to see what's missing or see if you need to address anything. So it would be really nice to be able to exclude the months that, say, the company was shut down for remodels or what have you.
Yeah, great application. And so really it's as easy as, say, Q4 was a bad quarter. Like you could either hide it and make sure your formulas don't take it into account, or you can completely delete it, right? And now we have Q3 missing Q4 and Q1 and Q2. So it's really simple and this is quarterly. Of course, we can do the same for monthly. And by the end of the month, early next month, we'll be able to do weekly as well and daily. So you can start to get some pretty powerful, and like you said, sometimes that's too much data, but it'll be an option for some industries, such as restaurants. They need to report on that 4-week periods instead of your typical month. So they'll have some flexibility that way as well.
This is amazing. So as somebody who niches in seasonal companies, being able to put in their season and compare just the high season this year to the high season last year without having to look at the data from the low season is huge. And that's not something you can do very effectively in pretty much any other reporting software that I've seen.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Hey, Arthur, one more question. So you can obviously pull all of the data within QuickBooks, and you did say like Google Drive.
Yep.
Can you have QuickBooks information and Google Drive in the same table?
Yeah, great question. So let's do a, say we're going to bring in, let's do last 12 months of income. And then I have a Google integration right now, and it's just t-shirt data. It's kind of silly, but number of athletic tees. And I can click save, and you can see what my athletic tees did over the last year and how much they did. And you can see that how the numbers are so different. So this is where you'd want to integrate the axis, the right axis. So you could add a right y-axis. And so I'll change my totaling, change my t-shirts to the right side. And so you can kind of see, instead of having like a flat line that went all the way across, now you can see the t-shirts there and the income there.
Yeah, there's just so many things going through my head, like Ingrid, especially with what you said about having seasonal clients, especially how COVID really impacted and skewed all those numbers. You could take an average of the 3 years prior to COVID and manipulate the data to show them, hey, like, we won't have a pandemic, for another 100 years. So let's ignore that. But here's an average of the last couple of years. Let's use these numbers and show your, what your realistic, profit is, or, your budget and everything. This is insane.
Yeah, the use ideas that are coming to my mind right now. So one of the things that I've really been challenged with other reporting tools, and particularly cash flow kinds of tools, is I work with tours and activities companies who, for the most part, are getting paid in advance for the services that they are offering. So they receive deposits sometimes months or years in advance of the service being offered. And the way that we track that in QuickBooks for proper accrual accounting is we enter the sales on invoices for the date of the service that is being offered, and we enter the payment on payments on those invoices. So the invoices are dated in the future. The payment is dated for whatever date the money is received. And we create reports. It makes it so that you get automatic cash flow forecasting to a certain extent within QuickBooks by running future dated reports. You can see your pre-sales in QuickBooks by running an accrual basis P&L. The problem is that when you do it that way, most cash flow tools can't comprehend the fact that you're getting deposits on prepayments within your AR because you have negative AR. And then they're looking at whatever account you have set aside for your escrow and seeing this gigantic chunk of change in the bank. And they're including that in the cash flow when that money does not belong to the company. Those are prepayments. And I have not seen any other effective tool where you can say, nope, we're not going to include that account because that account doesn't belong to us. So being able to simply because out of those prepayments, they might also have to prepay their vendors. For example, a Safari company who receives $10,000 in advance from every customer, and then they have to pay thousands of dollars out to, in location vendor to run part of the tour or something like that as a deposit out to their vendor. That might come out of that escrow account, as some of the funds from their customers are non-refundable for exactly those reasons. And so we need to determine how much needs to be left in that escrow account by a simple equation of that negative accounts receivable minus the negative accounts payable, so the prepaid AP, equals the amount that needs to be set aside. And in the past, we've always had to do those calculations manually. You're showing me that I can create reports and it'll do it all for me. This is amazing.
You got it. You got it exactly. And that's a fantastic application. I actually haven't heard of that one before, but that's exactly what we can do there. Absolutely.
This is great. Seriously, my mind is blown. Another really good practical application. And I'm so glad we're recording this. For any profit first professionals who might be watching this video, I am a former profit first professional. I'm trained in the profit first model. And one of the reasons why I stepped back from Profit First was because I found better ways to calculate some of the metrics that we needed, because having to jump through those hoops on a monthly basis to figure out things like owner pay, when owner pay needs to take into account if the company is a corporation, both the owner's salary as well as distributions, that is combining numbers from the P&L and the balance sheet. And no other reporting software that I've seen does that automatically. We can use Reach Reporting as an app to automatically create profit assessment reports at the click of a button.
Absolutely. And we have several Profit First clients that do just that. So,
this is great.
Yeah. One last thing I'll show you here is that if you do have any clients that will want to do benchmarking, that's a good application for the Google Sheet integration. And so this is an example of a dental client that we have, and they just have dental statistics from, looks like, it's always a couple of years back, but this is 2018. And so they can bring in a table into any of their reports to show their clients how they're doing year to date against the national averages. And so if you have a client in that kind of world or in an industry that has that benchmarking data, that's a really powerful way to use this as well. And that's really, obviously we could go and dive into any one of these functionality, functions and go deeper and deeper and deeper. But that's in very broad strokes. That's the Reach Reporting app.
I'm stoked. Can we talk about pricing? I would love to hear what the investment is to create this, and if you have any partner referral programs or bundle things for accounting professionals, stuff like that.
We sure do. Yeah. And actually you guys have it set up here on the QuickBooks site here. And so you can see that a typical business owner is going to pay $149 per month with our platform. And that's basically one single company connection, whether it be Xero or QuickBooks Desktop or whatever it is that they're connecting. However, most of our advisors are working with several clients. And so you can see our number here, 290 is actually less than half the price, or less than twice the price of a single business. And at basically it's $29 per company if you fill it up with all 10. And then you can see as we continue on at 25, our price turns to $22 each. And this is a monthly cost, and $18 at 50 and so forth. So the price gets lower the greater volume that you're using us.
How does it work how do users work if you've got more than one user in your firm?
So you have unlimited users. So basically in each reach reporting workspace, and a workspace is just basically an account, you can set up different users. So if you have different team members that are going to access it, that would be the group access here. And within each company, you can set up users there as well. So at the group level, just a way to organize. If you have this employee that's dealing with this 10 accounts, then they can deal with that group. And you can assign them individually as well. We also have unlimited client portals as well. So you can kind of add your clients to a portal where they can log in with their own credentials, as well as I kind of was showing you earlier. And so there's unlimited of those as well.
Is it possible to give certain people access to certain companies and not to others?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this case here, advanced reporting, I have a group. It would be just as simple for me to say, okay, Ingrid, this is you're going to be part of this one, and Sharday, you're going to be part of our sales team one. And it's kind of that simple to kind of isolate who's using each one in the group level. Or at the company level as well. You can just add it using this additional user button here.
Can you also restrict reports with the in?
For the client on the other side?
Like so say you had, I don't know, a team member, a user who has access to company A, but there's some information in there, like giving them too much access to QuickBooks, like we can set a lot of restrictions in that. And same, like, is it possible to restrict certain reports so that they aren't able to see certain
Absolutely.
important financial information that otherwise could compromise certain things?
So absolutely. So in our report section here, or whether it be a dashboard or a report, the way you would do this, and it's an interesting way to do it, but what you could do is you could click save as template, and then you select people who will have access to that template, being that report, and you would click it just yourself. You could also make it available to anybody on your workspace, but if you have just yourself, then you could delete it and essentially put it back when you want to look at it.
Awesome. Okay. I think another thing that we haven't really touched on that's important to kind of communicate about for anybody who may be interested, something that, you can get a really high level overview of a software and it sounds great and dandy. What sort of customer service team do you have? What's the response times? How, this is very customizable. Say something comes up that, a client, like I've known, like for me personally, the CFO that currently uses your services is just dazzled by the software. And he has mentioned to me that it's been really easy to communicate with you guys, and you guys add features all the time. Usually when he's on there and he's like, hey, I need to get this kind of information, the platform isn't allowing that. He usually jumps onto the chat feature. And I want to say, I'm pretty sure Jeff talks to you a lot. And, you guys add those kinds of things like simultaneously.
Yeah, so there's lots of development. We're pretty agile in that regard. And so, if there's something that gets asked for, as Jeff said, we're constantly adding new features. But if it's something that's asked for and we haven't put it on yet, you can let us know. And usually there's got to be it's got to be quick and easy for us to do, or there's got to be a lot of demand for it. We don't just put every request on, but we do that. We try to work with our clients to help them in anything they need. And sometimes they just need to know how to use the software. And so they reach out to us. There's myself, and I have a team behind me that we can support you with any of your questions. We do have the chat box down here that's available. That is, we're Mountain Time. And so 9 to 5 Mountain Time, that's responsive. And if you catch us outside of those hours, it comes out as an email, and then we respond to it within the next, the next morning kind of thing. As well, we have tons of video tutorials and a knowledge center, and really kind of for onboarding with automation tools like this, really it doesn't take very, very long to kind of understand the basics behind it. And then it's just you kind of, flexing your creative muscles to create what you want it to be. And if you get stuck, we're very responsive that way. But, when you first come on, you can spend an hour with me and I'd be super happy to help you build some reports and some metrics and some things that you're doing. And once you kind of see how that goes, then you just let it run. And every month you just, you keep rinse and repeating basically, because everything's automatically updating for you. And if you ever get stuck, we're here for you. So hopefully that answers that question in a convoluted way, but we're definitely all about making it easy on our clients.
It definitely did. I just have two more questions.
Sure.
One of them is, what happens, say you accidentally delete a huge, report that you created? Is there some sort of deleted archive that you can retrieve that? Or what are your recommendations? Like maybe duplicate the template and work within that?
Great question. Yeah. You know what? I actually don't know if we can find deleted things. So I can find out for you.
Good to know.
Good answer. But in order to keep it from not deleting, what I would encourage is if you get a report that you like, just save it as a template. And saving it as a template puts it in. I'll show you what it looks like. If I click Add, Manage My Templates, all of the reports that I've built that I like, that I want to save and share and use again are here. And you can see sometimes they're duplicated here. So I delete the old versions, of course, but this is where they are. And so if I accidentally delete them in the report section, I can always go back and find the master templates in that template section.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. You just never know when those kinds of things happen. You
Totally.
think, and then there's something within that report and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had that. But yeah, because I mean, there's just so much to do. It just sounds like, I guess, duplicating the template and then working from there to modify, and play around sounds like the best option, but good to know.
That's it. Exactly. Yep.
And then is it possible to have, so like you said, if, people want to add, maybe a feature that may not be already implemented within the software, and if it's not too crazy, you said, you guys will most likely get on there, but say if it is, a really extensive type of project or request, is it possible to pay for an engineer to add in those types of things? Do you have any flat pricing, or is it kind of just a, as they come, it's an agreed upon kind of quote?
Yeah, you know what, we do from time to time do that, but typically what we end up doing is we just say, you know what, we'll just do it free for no charge. Just commit to us for a year, and if you commit to us for a year, we'll kind of cover it. So that's usually kind of how it goes. But there have been times where we've done some custom work for people, and that's usually priced on a kind of project per project base.
And then I know I said I only had two, but I did have another one. As far as the sync feature goes, from getting the information synced into Reach from QuickBooks. So say that you make modifications, you're looking at all your reports, you're seeing that you're missing expenses, you go and enter in those expenses. How quickly does it sync? Is it, because I know it used to be like every 24 hours, so you'd have to wait to get all that data. How is that being improved currently? I
actually just saw a note from our team just recently that it's now the sync with QBO is live.
It is live. Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, because I know that was something that was a little bit difficult with time crunches. Accrual-based clients can be a little bit difficult when you're,
worst case
trying to
scenario,
get the reports out, and you're like, oh, I'm missing all these things. And you get it in there, you're like, okay, well, I have it all in there, but it's not going to update.
Totally. Worst case scenario, if it hasn't updated, you just click this button down here, and it will sync the bookkeeping data for you manually. And so that's how you would do it with like QuickBooks Desktop and Xero. You can manually sync it. And so QBO should automatically live do it. But if it doesn't, for whatever reason, just click that button and it'll automatically do it for you.
Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Ingrid, do you have anything?
Ah, my mute button didn't want to unclick.
Technology.
I'm just so excited. Like I feel like this is the answer to everything that I've been asking for from all these other apps for so long. And, yeah, just none of them could quite deliver what I was really needing. And I'm really excited.
I really wish that, Ingrid, I hope you get to play with this so you can maybe I just want at scaling for you guys to be able to teach on this kind of stuff. I think this is it's the best platform that, I've ever come across as far as what it can do.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's another
there just
question.
needs to be so many classes on this.
Right. Well,
based on industry, or because I feel like when it comes to industry, like it's hard for me personally to visualize what kind of metrics are needed for specific business types. And I think if you could break it down and give like you said, Ingrid, like I think it was really invaluable information for us to give examples on how we can use this, because most businesses are such niche markets that there isn't just a one thing fits all. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. Like, just because you were taught that in accounting, like a certain ratio, that doesn't mean that it's going to be applicable. Like you said, there's like cash flows. I've never found a platform other than Reach Reporting that can accurately depict a cash flow statement.
Yeah.
QuickBooks cannot. It's such a confusing report in general, financial statement, but I know that Reach is the only platform that you can manipulate the data in order to give you an accurate cash flow statement.
Right. And I guess that's the really big thing, is that we need to know what the customers what their specific customized KPIs are. What key performance indicators are we looking for? What questions are we trying to answer? And every other solution that I've looked at, when trying to adapt it to the specialized niche things of my clients, we have to come up with workarounds, and workarounds are never perfect. And
they're timely. They're very timely. They're monotonous. It's data entry, which causes a lot of error. And that's like the one thing that I've done with almost all my clients is reducing the amount of human manual entry, because unfortunately we make errors. Computers can make errors. Ingrid, I know that you've caught them. But to be able to eliminate manual entry, to focus your attention on reports to maybe catch those errors, pull out a calculator, do the calculations, but instead of entering them maybe incorrectly and then doing the calculations, there's so many steps. And I think this is just an incredible and valuable tool.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited. Thank you so much, Arthur.
I feel like I could sit on here for hours with you.
And, honestly, we have a 30-day trial. Jump in, play with it. There's no limitations to the number of clients you can use or the features that are available. It's just wide open for 30 days. So we really encourage people to jump in and just take it for a test drive and play with the features, and give me a call. And, I'm happy to do a demonstration where it's very personalized, and you can tell me exactly what you're working on, and I will do my best to help you figure it out. And if not, like I said, I got a team of people behind me that are, we can figure out the solution to most problems. And so we're here to support and assist in any way.
What is the best form of contact, like the way to reach out to you to get demos, or again, we record this, so it's going to go on a few different platforms that I'm sure you'll get some phone calls from.
Wonderful. Yeah. So my email address is probably the best way to do that.
Okay.
It's Arthur, spelled ARTHUR @reachreporting.com. That's Arthur@reachreporting.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Arthur Boutin. My last name is spelled Boutin. And you could just go into this Reach Reporting page on LinkedIn and find me as well. But it's Arthur@reachreporting.com or at LinkedIn, and I will take you from there.
That's great. Well, and Arthur, before we hopped on the demo, we were talking a little bit about the upcoming Scaling New Heights conference in October. So for anyone watching this demo years from now, it's currently September 2021. And Scaling New Heights is coming up, oh my gosh, just next month. Wow.
I know.
Insane. And he said that Reach is going to have a booth there, depending on whether or not they're going to let you in and out of Canada. You may or may not be there personally. And just to speak to Chardet's question about teaching this kind of material at a conference like Scaling New Heights can be a little bit challenging because it gets really deeply into a particular app. So we're getting away from the how to be an advisor, and it gets more into how to use this particular app, which is something that the apps would have to pay Scaling New Heights to be able to essentially advertise their product in a session like that. So that gets a little bit more challenging. We have a bit more freedom here in the Woodard groups. So I guess that would be another thing is if we wanted to get into some more specific use scenarios, our Woodard group platform here is actually an ideal place to do stuff like that in webinars. And then we're not necessarily limited by a conference environment where it's pay to play.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And we the marketing people, you know, sometimes they'll do things that I don't even know about. And so we might already be have paid to do a presentation, but if not 100%, I would love to, whatever the venue, we love talking about it. We love, because we know it changes lives. To be completely honest, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it can be a big deal for people. And so whatever the opportunity is, we love to talk about it.
Well, I know Matthew had to hop off at the top of the hour about 45 minutes ago because he had a client call. But he runs the QB Community Live Facebook group, which does I think weekly live
Thursday.
Yeah, nifty thing. And then we've got our Woodard group, and there's a lot of other Woodard groups out there. If at any point we wanted to collaborate on specific use scenarios or questions, you know, maybe getting into how to demonstrate, you know, utilizing these tools specifically for the tourism activities industry and setting up reports for profit by tour with a seasonal business and showing all of the bells and whistles of typical KPIs for a business like that. Or getting into, I see now that you've got the PFP assessment template here. I was talking about profit first stuff because it just came to my mind, and you're like light years. You've been doing this for years. You've been doing the thing that came to my mind. It's exactly what it's for. I was talking with them years ago about we need a better app for this because the way that we're doing it manually is just not an effective use of time. This is great. I'm super, super stoked.
The other thing I'll mention, especially in your communities, if you feel like you've built a report or combined, you know, a few of you have built a report that is perfect for a certain industry, I can show you how you can share it across users. And so you could have quite literally a collection that, you know, could trade reports, right? Hey, I'll trade you my restaurant one for the one that you're building that has to do with tourism, or however you want it to look. We can definitely facilitate that.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, right. I guess any other questions or things that we want to have in here before I go ahead and stop the recording?
I think that's it for me.
Awesome. Well, thanks to everybody who's watching online. And if you have any other questions for Arthur, please be sure to email him or reach out to him on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much.